today I've got with me Ana, and we're going to be talking about transformational leadership. So, Ana, where can people find you?
So, first of all, hello, everybody. Hello, team. Thank you so much for having me in your show. It's an
You're
honor.
welcome.
It's a pleasure. And people can find me, first of all, in my site, www.ignitebusiness.live. Of course, my LinkedIn, where we are right now as well. And I have also my Instagram, Ana F. Cavagnoli. That is my last name.
Fantastic. So tell us about what is transformational leadership. Is it different from other leadership? Is it what is it?
So transformational leadership, it's an approach. Transformational leadership, it's a style that every leader can acquire, can have, or can even live with it. But it's the type of leadership style that drives change. More than this, I like to say that transformational leadership is the moment that you have strategic leaders that sets the vision. Transformational leaders are going to be the ones driving the vision forward. In a nutshell, is this.
Right. So it's about them driving the vision. So rather than because quite often, so first and foremost, leadership and management always gets mixed up.
Exactly.
Management and leadership are very different things.
Exactly.
So what we're looking for in terms of transformational leadership are people that are willing to lead and going to say, this is where we're going to go, follow me.
Yes, and this is where it's so important that you asked what is transformational leadership is basically in a nutshell is driving the vision forward. But the importance that we have to think about is why transformational leadership is something so important nowadays. Because transformational leadership is not something that was created now. It was created in the 70s by a researcher, okay? But why this is so important nowadays is because we are in an era of innovation. We are in an era of a fast change. And all organizations are moving, with changes in all the time. And what happens when you have to do a change in an organization? What happens when you want to really create some innovation? The first thing that happens, because this is a human thing, the nature is resistance. The nature is fear. It's a nature reaction of a human being. Now, what's happening, that is what in biggest organizations, is that we have what I call the leadership gap. And right. Transformational leadership is the skill that can bridge this gap. Because what happens is the following. You have the strategic leaders that are setting the visions. Normally, it's the C-suite. They go, they do the 3 to 5 years plans for the organization. They see exactly where they have to go. They know the outcomes that they want to achieve, the results and everything. And this is so important. And after that, you have what you call the managers. And the managers are also important, but the managers, they don't drive the vision forward. The managers are the one that for short term executing the tasks, making the drumbeat of the things. The managerial, this is what we call transactional leaders. What do you do this? Are you doing this? The checklist. Don't get me wrong. This is important because yes. As this is the drumbeat that's happening. But these kind of transactional leaders, they don't drive change. Now, the transformational leaders, that can be somebody or can be you developing those skills in these transactional leaders, are the one that share the vision, show the purpose of this, bring the impact. And when you show the impact of things, you know what happens with people? This starts to bring behavior change. And this creates what I like to say, transformational leaders, they don't create a movement. They create a motion. It's a combination of movements.
So if I take a step back, and I'm going to ask you, I want to ask you this really obvious question, but I want you to answer it. Why do we need to innovate?
Why we need what? Sorry?
Why do we need to innovate?
So,
if we have a business model and it works and it's generating money, why don't we just carry on cranking the handle and doing that?
because this is the way that the word is, it's nowadays, is the need of this innovation. And always and more, if you think about this, what's happening nowadays, even the behavior of consumer, and you work with that, it's changing. They are always searching for more innovation. They are always searching also to buy things that has meaning. So if people are changing their behaviors and more, there is something else. You see, the generation Z was motivated for something else. Generation millennials, they are completely driven by change. If you go to the generation Z now, it's totally driven by purpose. The generation Alpha is even more driven by purpose. With that, all this kind of needs change. Company needs to also follow up those changes. And the workforce is changing. And if you don't change the way that you are managing those people, you are not going to have the results that you want.
I totally agree, and I think I've seen it so many times that the innovation is so key. The competitors that we had when we first started up 7 years ago no longer exist.
No,
because we out innovated them. And I say this to the team, which is, if we're not innovating, we're not moving forward.
yes.
It's okay to do what we do, but also we constantly need to change and constantly need to innovate.
Exactly. And what happens as well is, like, we were in an era that was very business centric. So what I mean with business centric approach is cut costing, right? You are always thinking about how can I cut costs, how can I reduce costs, how I can, that's one thing. Now, this, we are much more in a customer and employee centric approach.
Yep.
So in the end, the differentiator is more about bringing loyalty, because people understand that loyalty is where you can have 2 or 3 times biggest revenue in your organization. And the way that you have a customer-centric approach is when you bring to the table a skill that is called empathy. That's, by the way, transformational leaders, they really develop an empathetic mindset. And when I talk about empathetic, I'm not talking about this kumbaya event. I'm talking about having empathy as a strategy. So you get the input of the customers, the voice of the customers and everything, and you are going to listen that with the lenses of empathy and see a competitive advantage. So that's why you are constantly innovating, because people are changing, and with that, organizations need to change to adapt to those requirements.
So how does this compare with other forms of leadership?
So for example, if you take transformational leadership nowadays, I would say that is extremely important for agile and technical organizations.
Right.
That, as again, the innovation is constantly happening. Constantly happening. Okay, and why this is very important? It's because if you really wanna improve process, if you are the type of organization that are not set in a kind of a comfort zone, transformational leaders are the one that really takes people out of comfort zone. Another thing is, for example, in some weeks I'm going to be visiting a customer that I'm going to do some workshops with them, and the challenge that they are facing with customer experience is all in the behavior realm. Lack of ownership, lack of empathy dealing with customers. There is no team approach. There is no sense of urgency. But if you take a look on all that, is all behavioral. Okay, fine. The only way that you can change behavior is when you bring a kind of the skills of transformational leadership, that they bring the impact of why you do what you do. People send a sense of a purpose, and they want to change. And with that, you can bring it, say, look, for us to get there, we need those type of behaviors, we need those type of values, and this drives what I call motion, the movement. So that's why it's extremely important. Transformational leadership, it's not for a company that doesn't want to change. Transformational leadership is not for a company that is really in a kind of, no, the way that I am doing the transactional things is important. No, you don't need that. You just need managers. But the moment that you need innovation, transformational leaders are required. And this is not something that you need to have this transformation. You can develop strategic leaders, and the transactional leaders should have the transformational leaders skill sets.
So I was going to ask you, so if ever as a business we decide that we want transformational leadership, is that where we will take the people internally and transform them, or do we go, we don't have this skill inside, therefore we need to get it?
You can have both.
Right.
You can bring somebody that has this transformational leadership behavior, skill, gift, okay? And be the one that's going to drive change for a specific project or product. And another thing that you can do is having this person to train those transactional leaders to get those skills. Because you can. Because there are 4 eyes for a transformational leader. First of all, is idealize. They really kind of show why people need to change, the benefit of the change. They give the value of it. Okay, so this is one. They really are inspiration. As I said, they really give the sense of a purpose and meaning for everything that what people do. Instead of you saying what you do, is why you are doing what you do in your organization, giving the sense of a purpose. And another thing that the transformational leadership does, they really live by a role model. So a transformational leader, their walk reviews themselves. So they are doing what they are doing. People are looking and then getting inspired. So you can teach that for transactional leaders. And I think this is my advice.
So, so we've got a transformational leader or leaders within an organization. Is it about job title?
So that's what I love about transformational leadership. It's not that a lot of people are using that as a job type, and it can be, of course, okay? Because when you want to change a culture, you need to have transformational leaders, okay? But again, it's for me, it's something that you develop on people in order to drive change. And what I love about transformational leader is that there is something that we really need to have in our organizations, that is cross-functional leaders.
Right. People knowing about different things. So they know about sales, but they also know about supply chain.
Yes, and more than the cross-functional leaders are the ones that they don't have a title, but they lead. They lead because they are, and because they have the transformational leadership skills. I was already a cross-functional leader, leading projects. I didn't have officially people under me.
I was about to come to this point. I was about to come to this point, which is one of the things I learned about leadership when I worked in corporate was you don't actually have to have people reporting to you to lead.
Yeah, so that's the point. Leadership is not a title thing. The leadership, it's a mission. Is what I always tell to people. Leadership is not a title. Of course, you can have a title. But the moment that you understand that the leadership, it's a mission, you want to develop the transformational leadership skills, because the transformational leadership skills is the only one that is purpose-driven and brings, impact for people's lives. And with that, people really want to work.
Yes, and I think sometimes when we talk about transformational leadership, I think quite often what happens is that we think CEO or something sort of title. And I've actually seen transformational leaders who are actually individual contributors.
Exactly.
Who have said, this is a project. I'm really excited about this, and I'm going to make it my own, and I'm going to make it my own for the benefit of the company. Yeah.
But there is a change, that happens with a transformational leader when they are communicating these kind of things. And I tell that by experience, because it's what happened. They use the we approach. So what happened is they see something and they definitely get hooked and passionate, and they are totally passionate about, and they see the value for the organization. They see the value not only for the business, but for the entire ecosystem. They come to the team and say, look, we are going to build something. We are going to build something that nobody in this organization ever did. Would you like to be inside this movement? And the moment people get hooked. So I will give a real case, okay, because this helps people to understand. I remember my previous job, I was an individual contributor, okay, and there was a program that was not able to happen, that was an onboarding program to the organization. The previous person was trying to implement, was not able to make this happen. And I invited a group of people that are all very busy. And in the moment that I bring these people, I say, look, we never did that. Imagine if this company, we created that and we could create that together. And in the moment, and people say, oh my gosh, that's true. And immediately after people bought the vision, what's the next thing when people bought the vision? How we are going to do it? And after that, you go through the how. And see, now the way that we are going to do, maybe you, team, can take the piece A. Maybe you, C, you can take the piece D. And let's get some meetings together. And every time we kind of celebrate. And people start to see what they are building. But it's always about the we approach. And they see the end goal. And another thing that makes people hooked, once they see the end vision, you create these kind of meetings that people start to see things getting built and they get hooked. And after that, you celebrate. So transformational leaders, they create motion. Movement is from point A to point B. Stop. Motion is a combination of movements. They keep moving. You cannot have a transformational leader doing transactional tasks because they're going to get bored. They are hooked in vision. They are hooked by a sense of a purpose, and they like to drive that. And they have the ability to create this inside the organization.
I was talking to a friend of mine who works at Amazon Web Services yesterday, and he described pretty much what you just described. I said to him, what's your favorite thing about the culture? Because the culture at Amazon is, you've got to work hard. They're expecting you to put a lot of time and effort in. And he said, anybody can come up with an idea that could be the next Amazon internally. And there are the processes in place that can allow that person to create the momentum within the organization to actually do that. And he said, that's one of the things that I like about working here.
Exactly. And that's why Amazon is the way that it is right now. They allow transformational leadership approach inside the organization.
I mean, if you look at Amazon, you know what they did with the Kindle. They said, we sell books. What's the thing that's going to come along that's going to kill our book business? Oh, someone's going to want to buy some sort of. They're going to want to read books in a small little electronic box. Okay, we'll make them. So we're going to destroy our book business by creating the Kindle. And they did, but they didn't. In the end, people still buy books. But they were, if you look at Kodak, as many of us know, invented the digital camera, but they decided not to kill their film business. And look at Kodak.
Exactly. That's the point. They are always going to be something. That's why I'm talking about the word motion. They never stops, because Amazon is always in a motion. They never stop.
So what can I do if people are watching this, or what can we do to get transformational leadership in our organization, or be transformational leaders ourselves?
So that's a great question, because first of all, you need to understand the attributes that a transformational leader has.
Right.
And another thing that you need to understand, that all leaders pay a price. All leaders has to pay a price, right?
Right.
So transformational leaders really pay a price, because it's not about them. It's not about my results. It's about, and transformational leaders always let other people to shine.
Yep.
It's like they have the servant leadership skills mindset embedded. Okay. This is the first attribute that a transformational leadership has to have. They really need to kill their egos all the time, because they need even to allow people to tell that the idea is them, because it's the others that are going to execute. It's not going to be you. You are just fueling people with energy, and people are going to buy that vision, and it's going to move. Transformational leaders are not the ones that, I have to create the vision. They can. But transformational leaders can see the vision from the strategic leaders. They get so passionate. They get that as they are on, and they just drive the emotion forward. So you see, no ego, right? Another thing that you need to understand about the foundation of a transformation leader, if you want to be a transformation leader, you need to see that your foundation has to be humility, because only humble people are able to learn. And why I'm telling about the humble people to learn, because another amazing skill set of a transformation leader is self-awareness.
Yes.
It's self-awareness. They are paying attention in everybody, because they are going to look and see how they can motivate, how they can push the button of team is going to be different than the way that they push the button from Maria. So they have the self-awareness, but they start this journey with themselves. So that's why humility is the foundation of a transformation leader, because they are not going to be driven by ego. They are going to be self-awareness, and self-awareness, for you to learn, you have to be bold, to look to yourself, see your errors, your mistakes, to learn. And only when you develop self-awareness, you will be able to be an empathetic leader. A lot of people are not empathetic because they don't develop the self-awareness skills. So that's why. So it's a step. That's what I can say. Another thing, they have to be proactive.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us about transformational leadership. And I hope people have learned. And it's not about titles; it's about you yourself, and being self-aware. I think is a critical thing. So thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So yes, my site, www.ignitebusiness.live, is where you can find me, and also on LinkedIn, Ana Flávia Cavaioli. Yes.
Anna, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. And